Welcome to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, titled The Ways of Equity. I'll read a little in the Greek, and then we'll go through the chapter. Apostolon ton arton su epi prosopon tu idatos, oti in plithi ton imeron evrisis avton. Send your bread upon the face of the water, for in a multitude of days you will find it. I believe basically what he's talking about there is to be generous with other people. Whatever you have to share it. And hopefully sharing it in the correct way, giving it to somebody that needs it rather than somebody that's going to waste it. And so many people are needy today, but they could be needy because they don't want to work. It could be needy because of political situations of the country, all sorts of things. Now, I don't think we should look at a person under a microscope to give them anything. You just have to use your judgment as far as asking the Lord first of whether what you should do in the case of who you should share your things with. And then it continues, give a portion to 7, even indeed to 8, for you know not what evil there will be upon the earth. So basically, the things are as they are. We don't have any control, but if you share with people, then they would hopefully share with you, or God would bless you because of your giving and your charity. If the clouds should be filled of rain, then they pour out upon the earth. And if a tree should fall towards the south, and if towards the north, then in the place where the tree shall fall, there it is. So, to me, I see this more or less. Things are happening in this world. To find out what is going on, you don't really know. Because, like it says here, if a tree falls in the middle of the forest, does anybody hear it? And so, it's best in life to seek the things of God rather than things that we have no control over, or we don't even know how good the information is, like the news or weather, politics, all these sorts of things which are so easy to go towards. But the tree is going to fall wherever, and we don't have any control of it, what's going to happen. Very little. Giving heed to the wind, he sows not. And looking into the clouds, he harvests not. Being among the ones in whom there is not a knowing what the way of the wind is. And again, we don't know. And so, again, seeking God rather than looking into, hear the wind, giving heed to the wind, weather forecast, and so forth, or politics, sort of tied in together. Being among the ones in whom there is not a knowing what the way of the wind is. As the bones in the womb of one being with child, so you shall not know the actions of God, as much as he shall do in all things. A man wrote this, Solomon. Men are pretty ignorant of the physical things of women. And the ignorance that we have of women shows a lot of times. We do a lot of foolish things, say foolish things, or in the woman, you could say one thing to your friend who's a male. If you said the same thing to the female, she could slap your face or get really mad. So the actions we really don't know, and the male tries to do the best he can. Sometimes they don't care, but in the best case scenario, a man would try to please a woman. And but he has only so much information that he knows. He has to stumble through that procedure. But same thing with God, he's saying. So if you don't know the actions of a woman, how do you know what the things that God's going to do? Well, we don't. At morning, sow your seed, and at evening, do not relieve your hand, for you know not will line up, this here or this there. And if the two are together, good things. Basically, I see this as don't postpone what needs to be done. Get it done, and you'll be a lot happier. I'll be a lot happier rather than postponing things that are at hand for us to do. And you can find out that by postponing, things start building up, and then all of a sudden you find you have all kinds of problems because you've postponed them. Sometimes it's difficult for people that they're by themselves, they're old, they're in bad health, don't have anybody to help, and the things can be overwhelming. I'm sure many of you out there feel that way. And to alleviate it, I mean, you can try, once you finish one task, it seems like there's 3 more to do, and it never ends up. And that's sort of the way it is in life. So I suppose one thing you could do is try to look at, well, what are the things that are causing this backup? What are all these things that I have to do? Sometimes you have no choice. You can have a family and your children need things. You've had children. I suppose you could, person, if they thought about it, say, well, can I really take care of all these children if I want to have them? And a lot of times people don't think about that before they have, their marriage and relations, and wait until it's too late and you have 10 kids. But in the olden days, that was a positive because they would help you on the farm and do a lot of things. But you can have other things that are causing all these things to pile up in front of you as far as material goods, or getting yourself all strung out on helping other people or doing other things. But you can just get tied up in a lot of things. I have really a good friend. She teaches, and she's married and has a husband and house to take care of, and she teaches in real estate. Not teaches in real estate. She sells real estate, and she helps other people. And sometimes I think the things pile up and it might be harmful. And if you get sick, then it makes it more difficult because then you have more things piling up. So you have to make a decision. Well, I might want to do a certain thing, but can I really finish it? Can I fulfill it? Or are things going to be all piled up where I have to postpone things? And that's not really too good. And if the two are together good things, two things line up, I guess. And I don't know what the are. I don't think it's the hands. Moreover, the light is sweet. Phosphorus is a derivative phos. Light is sweet, and it is good to the eyes to see with the sun. For even if a man shall live many years, in all of them he shall be glad, and the days of darkness shall be remembered, for they are many. So basically, while you have the light, take advantage of the light, and then because all of a sudden darkness can appear and bad things will happen. Jesus sort of relates to that in many ways when you read the Gospels of how he was the light of the world and walking in light, all these things, but then darkness came upon with the crucifixion. And all coming is folly. Again, everything is folly. Be glad, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart do good in the days of your youth. and walk in the ways of your heart unblemished. All good advice to a young man. And in the vision of your eyes. And now there's can be problems because the visions of our eyes, what we see with our eyes goes in as information into our brain. It's not our eyes are not a camera as such. A camera is like an eye where you have a box that has a lens, which our eye has, and then it has what the retina, I think that's the part in the back, and it goes against it, but then and you take a picture in the camera, and you just have a picture of what it is. But not so with human eyes. What we see doesn't just stay in the eye and become a picture. It goes up into the brain or someplace, and it takes all this information, and it can be put into our memory. And gray cells, whatever cells they are, whatever color these cells, however we memorize things in our brain, or if that's where it's at. And these things that we see stay there, and they pop up at times. Sometimes we're looking at bad, horrible things on the news. All of a sudden, you can be sleeping, and then whammo, somehow that bad thing will pop up into your dream. Comes out in a different way, and you wake up in a nightmare. And so what we see with our eyes, now, best not to look at things that are bad. And what kind of things are, now you can't always, accomplish that because a lot of bad things happen. Our accidents, in a car accident, you see it, or somebody's sick or somebody dies. But there's a lot of things that we put in our eyes that probably would be best not to. I think mainly for a lot of younger people he's talking about here is violence and pornography. They both have there are things that we look at for entertainment, if you want to call that entertaining. Some people don't watch pornography, but they'll end up watching a lot of violent movies, and other people can watch a lot of can watch a lot of pornography, and they don't like violent movies. But still, these things that we put in our eyes have a cause and then effect. So we need to think twice about what we are going to look at. And then he says, and know that in all these God shall lead you in equity, which was the title of this chapter. Everything will be equal when God leads. That's the secret. God leads us. He leads his people, not the unbeliever is on his own, doing his thing. And leave rage from your heart for a young person. Don't get mad so easy. And you see these people that have driving and they get mad at somebody, and there's all of a sudden there's an accident and somebody shoots somebody, all these types of things. Just leave rage. When the rage does come for something that's mad, then try to control it and calm it down. And it says your heart. I don't think it's in the heart muscle, but or at some place. And then pass off wickedness from your flesh. For youth and thoughtlessness are folly. So wickedness from our flesh, extramarital relations, not good. Having someone pregnant and they end up with an abortion. You don't want that on your conscience. And the things of the flesh, adultery, and most of them things of the flesh are sexual problems and sins and conditions. I suppose if you thought about the flesh and other problems, maybe somebody that's overeating, and I don't know if we can call that necessarily wicked, but it could be a problem in a person's life. And all these things start with youth. And so Solomon's bringing that out for the youth. And once you get really old, a lot of these things you learn the hard way. And so if everybody out there that's listening to this are all my age, then I'm teaching to the choir. But if there are some young people, then listen to the things of God's Word, open God's Word. If you have a decision to make, then open His Word and try to find the solution in God's Word. And generally, you will find it when you look. Not generally, you will find it when you look. God will give you an answer for whatever your issue is. Last chapter of the book of Ecclesiastes, the end of the whole matter. I hope you'll join us for the last chapter, chapter 12. Till the next time, and God bless.